Following Trump's acceptance speech at the RNC last week, Jim Gaffigan went on an utterly ridiculous Twitter rant where he basically talked about nothing but Orange Man bad the entire time, and for that he was lauded and praised by celebrities and journalists from the mainstream media, which isn't really a surprise to any of us because he is a celebrity. He is someone that is obviously going to get praised for talking about Orange Man bad. Meanwhile, Josh Denny, who is another stand-up comedian, was completely canceled because he promoted conservative viewpoints and values on his Twitter page a couple of years ago, and because of that, he was completely and utterly canceled. So let's go ahead and take a look at this because Josh Denny decided to rip into Jim Gaffigan in this rant that he does, where he basically talks about Hollywood, the issues of Hollywood. He talks about Jim Gaffigan and all of that stuff, and it's a really good rant. He says a lot of really good stuff in here, and I wanted to share it with you because this is really good stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I've always liked Jim Gaffigan. I've never met him. I don't agree with everything he said in his rant this past week, but I'll defend his right to say it. Here's my problem when this happens, though. I'm going to tweet my thoughts, so strap in. There's this weird sentiment that what he did was a risk, that somehow he hurt his career, which isn't true or possible, and that what he did was brave. It was difficult for anyone to do. I find myself angered that anyone sees it this way. True, there is no persecution for someone espousing the views that Jim shared. Orange Man bad. If you talk about Orange Man bad, you're probably going to be fine when it comes to the mainstream media, celebrities, the left, all of that stuff. Sure, you'll see a bunch of nobodies or bots or fringe right-wing people denouncing their fandom, but overall, you'll see overwhelming support from celebrities and tastemakers the industry over. The whole post on his Facebook page makes me sick because these are the stories that lead to the narrative that cancel culture isn't real. People use examples when highly successful celebrities step on a ledge to lose a few fans for a mostly widely accepted point of view. Anyone can step on a ledge, say something that's widely agreed upon, and pretend it's a risk and be lauded as a hero. And guess what? I'm fine with that, but some of us lose everything trying to do the same thing, standing up for what we believe in, for what we think is right, and we're not millionaires, and we're not saying the popular thing. I mean, and it doesn't take much to look at the world that we currently live in to see that you have big tech working. If you have conservative viewpoints, if you have pro-American viewpoints, you're going to have big tech working against you. You're going to have Hollywood working against you. You're going to have the mainstream media working against you. You're going to have all of our most powerful industries, all of our most powerful institutions working against you if you are pro-American, if you are conservative, or any of those types of political viewpoints, worldviews and all that type of stuff. So what he's saying here is true. Some of us do lose everything trying to do the same thing by sharing our viewpoints. Jim Gaffigan can share his viewpoints all he wants, and he's not going to get in trouble for it because those are the viewpoints that line up with the narrative. But when people like me and so many others here on YouTube share our types of viewpoints, then we put ourselves at a risk that Jim Gaffigan will never be able to comprehend. Some of us just believe that all arism is bad and that we have to stop allowing it to be directed at white people like that's progress. It's not. It's just tribal disgust turned on its head. It's eye for an eye treatment. It's not progress, which is true. Yet when people like myself in 2018 or Terry Crews say unpopular or risky things to get this point across, we're mocked, run out of the business, and called risky or toxic, and those labels stick. When I was canceled 2 years ago, I received dozens of messages of support from A-listers I had never met, but zero of it publicly. It was all private. In public, everyone agreed I was probably just some artist that deserves what I got. So then he talks about this friend that he made from someone who works in Hollywood. He made a friend with a couple in Hollywood, and then basically they completely abandoned him after he basically promoted some of his conservative viewpoints and stuff. So he talked about that here. And then he says, I don't know what I want from this thread. I guess I'm furious that a dude worth 100 million or so thinks he risks what a guy like me risks when he speaks out. No millionaires had my back. No millionaires reached out to support me, and I know quite a few. And it's that feeling that unifies people on the right. The idea that we're all free to believe what we want just doesn't effing apply to us. And that is 100% true. There's no standard for behavior for how we are treated unless we just agree with you. So we revolt. We aren't unified under Trump's lies. We don't care about him as a figurehead. We are unified in that you guys want an America that is okay leaving us behind in your pursuit of your vision for this country. Guess what? We're not going anywhere. Name me one conservative celebrity in Hollywood that is still respected and gets work. That isn't mocked constantly by every other talking head. Go ahead, I'll wait. And that is so true. Being a conservative in this industry today is like being gay in the 50s. You'd rather kill yourself than be outed, and you mother effers love it like that. So spare me we're the party of compassion. You're not. You're the party of comply or die. You know that's the fascism you constantly accuse Trump of, right? And I've been saying this before. I mean, Antifa, like groups like Antifa, are the most fascist groups in America, even though they claim to be the most anti-fascist. That doesn't even make sense. They're literally the most ironic group imaginable. I've said this several times. It's insanely cowardly to ride the First Amendment to Moneytown and then close the door behind you for those that don't agree with you. My ideas aren't even that radical. I want a small government. I want to be left alone. I want to rid us of corruption. And yes, I think we should think about laws and their purpose, and maybe that means we don't justify murdering babies for the convenience of women. Wow, he actually went there. I'm very surprised and impressed that he actually went there. Wow, that is incredible. You want an America where we are all free? Publicly back someone that disagrees with you. Have some effing balls. Stop expecting a trophy for saying the popular stuff everyone agrees with. You want a better country? Risk something to reach across the ideological aisle. And I've done that here on this channel. I've done that on my channel. I've backed up people that I absolutely do not agree with when it comes to their political viewpoints. But I believe in the First Amendment way more than I have any sort of respect for their viewpoints. So I'm going to defend them when they start to get canceled. You know, like I've done that plenty of times here on my channel. End rant. I'm voting for Trump because your candidate sucks as bad as the last one. He's proof you don't have to fight for your beliefs. You think you're so right that he can literally be asleep at the wheel. You're wrong. You'll see in November. So that was an excellent rant. I obviously just kind of skipped a couple of the tweets that he made, but man, what he said there was absolutely spot on, and I agree with what he's saying here. And you can feel the frustration that he has of being a conservative working in Hollywood. That is a frustration that many conservatives that work in Hollywood have. If you go against the Hollywood narrative, if you go against the far left narrative, then you will be vilified and you will be cast out. We've seen this time and time again. So what he is saying here is so true, and I love it so much. I don't even know if I've ever seen any of Josh Denny's comedy, to be honest. I'm not really a big stand-up comedian fan, really, or anything. I don't go out of my way to watch it at all. But I agree with what he's saying here, and I think that he has a lot of really good stuff to say here. And, you know, Jim Gaffigan is not putting himself at risk for preaching about Orange Man bad. He is not putting himself at risk at all for that. What Josh Denny is saying here is obviously a lot more of a risky thing to say than anything that Jim Gaffigan could ever say or even dream about or even dare about saying. So with that being said, let me know what you think about this. I love that he ripped apart Hollywood. I love that he ripped apart Jim Gaffigan. I think that is all excellent stuff. We need more people to start talking like this, and I think we're going to continue to see more people talking like this coming from Hollywood, and that is a good thing. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I'd greatly appreciate that, and I'll talk to you all very soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.
With my heart's desire.